Hi, good morning. Welcome. Today, we're going to continue with the imposter syndrome theme. Okay, so let's start with our warm up as usual. Okay, shoulders back, roll them back, and roll them forward. Oh, I have a helicopter. Okay, and then up and down, up and down, up and down. Okay, your neck now, you're gonna go like this. Can do the maybe first, maybe. Feels, feel the stretch happening here. Take this moment to relax. Focus on the sensations. Don't think too much. No thinking right now. No, no, yes. To look after yourself, yes. Yes. Okay. Now we are going to massage our our jaw. And then your neck. Pull it like this. Look, from the back to the front. From the back to the front. I can feel something here. Oy. Does help. Okay, now unvoiced. Okay, so we breathe in and be patient. Great. Now, only 3 times we do. Great. Right. Last one. Humming. Very important that your lips are moist. Okay? And we go. Don't do it loudly. No. Otherwise, you can hurt yourself. So it's okay. And then we chew. Relax your shoulders. Perfect. Ready to start? Okay. Let's go. Look what I have for you today. Oh dear. One of my favorite high achievers, and apparently suffers from imposter syndrome. Guess who? Michelle Obama. Right. So first thing I'd like you to do today is to watch this video without worrying about answering questions or anything like that. Okay? We don't usually do that with students. We usually give them the questions first, or the main point and stuff. But for you teachers, just enjoy. That's all I ask. Okay? So enjoy.
To enter into an elite school when your high school counselor has told you you're not good enough, when all of society sort of looks at kids of color or kids from poor communities or rural communities as not belonging. I, like many others, walked into that school with a stigma in my own head. More young people nowadays call it imposter syndrome. I don't know if they call it that in Britain, where kids like me feel like they don't belong. And I had to work to overcome that question that I always ask myself, am I good enough? And I write about that. That's a question that has dogged me for a good part of my life. Am I good enough to have all of this? Am I good enough to be the First Lady of the United States? And I think that many women, and definitely many young girls of all backgrounds, walk around with that question. But how I overcame that is how I overcome anything: hard work. So whenever I doubted myself, I just told myself, let me put my head down and do the work, and I would let my work speak for itself. And I still find that I do that. I still feel that at some level I have something to prove because of the color of my skin, because of the shape of my body, because of who knows how people are judging me.
Right. It is short and sweet. It felt like a punch first time I watched this. I don't know for you guys, but have a look at these questions. Let's read them together, and then we watch again, and then you answer them, okay? So, what was Michelle Obama told by her high school counselor? Which two groups of children does she mention as not belonging? I think I only showed you a very small part of the clip, right? What does she mean by to have a stigma in my own head? What question does she repeatedly ask herself? Which two groups of people does she believe also ask themselves this question? What helped Michelle Obama deal with her imposter syndrome? Which two aspects of herself does she give when referring to the need to prove herself? And why do you think Michelle Obama is speaking out about imposter syndrome in this way? Right? So let me show you something, because I think, yeah, this is the big video, right? Let's go. Enjoy.
To enter into an elite school when your high school counselor has told you you're not good enough, when all of society sort of looks at kids of color or kids from
Sorry guys, my bad. Let's try again.
To enter into an elite school when your high school counselor has told you you're not good enough, when all of society sort of looks at kids of color or kids from poor communities or rural communities as not belonging. I, like many others, walked into that school with a stigma in my own head. More young people nowadays call it imposter syndrome. I don't know if they call it that in Britain, where kids like me feel like they don't belong. And I had to work to overcome that question that I always ask myself, am I good enough? And I write about that. That's a question that has dogged me for a good part of my life. Am I good enough to have all of this? Am I good enough to be the First Lady of the United States? And I think that many women, and definitely many young girls of all backgrounds, walk around with that question. But how I overcame that is how I overcome anything: hard work. So whenever I doubted myself, I just told myself, let me put my head down and do the work. And I would let my work speak for itself. And I still find that I do that. I still feel that at some level I have something to prove because of the color of my skin, because of the shape of my body, because of who knows how people are judging me.
Okay, right. Now I'm gonna give you some time to answer the questions. Okay, I have a beautiful song for you while you do this. Enjoy. Okay. So, what was Michelle Obama told by her high school counselor? Let's have a look at the answers and see if maybe watching it twice is not enough. Let's check. She wasn't good enough. That's what she was told. Oh my God. Which two groups of children does she mention as not belonging? Children of color and children from poor rural communities. I don't know if you got that. First time I watched this, I didn't. What does she mean by have a stigma in my own head? She doesn't belong. Oh dear. What question does she repeatedly ask herself? Am I good enough? And which two groups of people does she believe also ask themselves this question? Women and young girls from all backgrounds. What helped Michelle Obama deal with her imposter syndrome? Hard work. Right. It's mainly stop thinking and keep going, right? Which two aspects of herself does she give when referring to the need to prove herself? The color of her skin and the shape of her body. And finally, why do you think Michelle Obama is speaking out about imposter syndrome in this way? Well, I think she, as a Black woman, as a woman, Black, she knows what we go through, right? Simply by being girls. I don't know if they answered this one. No, they didn't. Okay, we've done this already. Remember that list, 10 ways to cope with imposter syndrome. I'd like you to think of one more tip. After watching this video, one more tip to add to this list. And I also want you to think about who would you like to give this list to, okay? Up to you. Let me give you some time. Let me give you music. Ready? Okay, 2 minutes. Okay. Now I have one for you, okay? It's just like remember that you aren't alone, but it's also remember how much we need you, okay? Our jobs is extremely important for many different reasons. So remember, it's much more than ourselves. It's a job we have, okay? Right, so now guys, I want to show you something else. I have a few, it's actually a game. It would be great if we could play together, but as we can't, at least I want to show you some of, let me take this off. Some of these quotes or some questions for you to reflect on, okay? Have a look at this one. So to yourself, describe a time when you felt like a fraud. Has it happened recently? Next one. What kind of things could you write in a record of your successes? Remember, guys, this could be a reflection activity for yourself, and it could also be something you could use with your students. Okay? What kind of things could you write in a record of your successes? Don't be shy. What signs might indicate that someone is experiencing imposter syndrome? Remember? Perfectionism, anxiety, depression. And again, you can use this with yourself or with a friend to see if you could be of some help. Make sure they know they're not alone. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Eleanor Roosevelt. What do you think about this quote? I would say it's not straightforward, is it? No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. It's a tricky one. So people can say whatever they want about me because I'm fine and I'll keep going. I wish it was that simple, right? But definitely is a way to go. Okay, moving on. Is it a good idea for celebrities to share their experiences of imposter syndrome? What do you think? You can write on the chat as well, okay? I think it's great. I really think it's great. So especially young girls, they see that their idols also go through problems and they don't feel so unfit. They don't feel so out, marginalized in a sense, because they see all these perfect lives. They feel, oh, I'm not half of this. And then when Lady Gaga, Michelle Obama, or our celebrities in Brazil say on TV or on Instagram that they also have problems, at least these girls feel like, okay, I'm normal, right? Why might being a perfectionist be negative? Why? Till a few years ago, people used to say that on job interviews. Oh, I'm a perfectionist, so no longer a positive trait, right? I think it's negative because you're more worried about what other people will think than what you actually can achieve with your work. So if we always focus on what we're doing and the good that could bring, we leave our ego aside. And so it's harder to be a perfectionist if you're not so worried about what people would think about you, but what they're going to think about your job, what you've done, or not even what people will think, but what you will achieve, how many people you can reach, you can help. Right. Explain how someone might experience imposter syndrome in a work context. Okay, you are now experts on imposter syndrome, especially if you've done that quiz I suggested last class. Gonna move on. But it does have something to do with burnout, huh? Remember, one of the phases of burnout, people start getting super perfectionist and feeling as if they were a fraud. So it has some similarities here. Why is it a bad idea to compare yourself to others? It may feel like a silly question, but it's hard to answer. It is hard to answer. And this is a question I think you should definitely ask your teenage students. This could be an essay writing task. Okay? So I think it's a bad idea because we do have different talents, different background. And if I'm not good at something that you are good at, only means we have different things to add. Okay. And what kind of things make a good mentor? We are all mentors. You know that? As a teacher, you can't really get away from this. And honestly, the first thing is to be able to listen. Listen with presence. Listen. But you can send me more answers, please. Is it a good idea to step outside your comfort zone? I'm doing this right now. And it makes me feel alive. And yeah, I do worry about sounding ridiculous or anything like that. But again, if this is going to add something to you, to your day, to your practice, I'm happy. It doesn't matter what people think about me, right? So think about this. Step outside your comfort zone. Why would a strong support network help someone with imposter syndrome? A strong support network, that's what we're trying to do with our program for teachers, with our community on Facebook. So to start with, and that's only my answer, I hope to see yours as well, is that feeling that you're not alone, that a lot of people go through the same you're going through. And that already gives you a feeling that, okay, I'm normal, I'm fine. It's just that our jobs require an extra amount of, I don't know what, it's an ongoing. Okay. I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it. Maya Angelou. This is so powerful. I'd like to finish to end today with this quote. Okay? It is what we do with what happens to us, okay? It's not what happens to us, it's what we do with it. What we learn from it, how we move on. Oh, Roberta, it's so easy to say, you don't know what I've been through. Yet, this too shall pass. Yeah, we just can't stop, can we? We only have this life to live. And if you're here right now, it is because you are determined to get better at something you do. So all I can do is to offer you my help. Okay, guys. We leave it at this today. Thank you so much for coming. Please share this lesson with colleagues, with peers, and I'll wait for you next Monday. Okay? Thank you very much. Merci.